Hello, friends. Welcome to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host, Julie Jancius. If you love this podcast, please be our angel. Ask a friend to listen, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, leave a positive review, and share a screenshot of this podcast on your Facebook or Instagram stories. So, my dad passed away in 2015. We weren't talking, and it took a month for his family to track me down. Before I ever knew he was gone, I started hearing from him in heaven. It consumed me. How is communication with the other side even possible? I left my corporate gig, studied with spiritual teachers on every coast, and worked with my angels to figure out the answers. Today, my mission is teaching you how to raise your vibration, shift your thoughts, trust your intuition, develop your unique spiritual gifts, and connect with your loved ones and angels on the other side. Friends, when you have these tools, life really does become heaven on earth. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancius. Friends, if you have been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that in the past, I've gotten like 6 months ahead, if Spirit saying life is going to get busy. And Spirit said, stop doing that. Stop getting so far ahead. Really let people into your life, into your world this year to go through life together as a community. So that's what I'm doing. Today is Friday. Is today Friday, Angela? Oh my goodness.
Yes, today's Friday.
So Angela, my friend, she's a fellow creator. I love being around other fellow creatives, don't you? It's just so fun.
Creating is so fun, but at times it feels painful,
Yeah.
especially nowadays, right? When we're trying to juggle with everyday responsibilities, mothering duties, and then, but my soul always calls for more creativity after that.
Yes. So Angela Lee, you might know her on Instagram, TikTok at at Mommy Diary. She's a mommy creator. We connected either right at the beginning of COVID or right before COVID. I forget, but you and I keep in contact. Where maybe every 6 months, every couple of months, we just check in with one another. How's it going? And I love our supportive bond because we are just moms doing it all, and no time can pass, or all the time can pass, and we just kind of catch up where we last left off. But you reached out this morning and you're like, I've got questions for you. And I was like, good, I don't have a Monday episode.
Yeah, these days I've been kind of just coming back into my flow state. So we met in 2020. The pandemic had just begun. I had a newborn baby and I was just just floored. Like, what am I supposed to do with my life? I have a young baby. I have 4 children total. So all my kids were home from school. My then husband was home from school. And I just felt like everything was just in this breakdown and
Yeah.
rebuilding stage.
Yeah.
And that's when we met. It was great. I was busy. And now I'm looking back and realizing the past 5 years, I was just kind of living in this survival mode of
Hmm.
raising children, growing my business, always having to create. Just create, create, create. Just productivity. Just pump it out. Just get it out there. Be seen. And I reached out to you this morning because recently I'm kind of coming back
Yeah.
to center, and I'm learning to go within and figure out, okay, the 5 years is done. I mean,
Yeah.
my newborn baby is now going to kindergarten, and I need to kind of do like a midlife check-in for
Yeah.
myself and my soul.
Yeah. 100%. So, one of the things when Angela first texted me, Spirit goes, hop on a podcast. Just like sometimes we have these great, like deep, deep conversations. And I'm like, dang, I wish I would have recorded that because, with your permission, of course, because we go deep, but because it's just so good and it's so raw and it's just like so in the moment. And there's just so much great advice that comes through from the angels. So, I'm reading Angela's text, and Spirit goes, write this down. They said, during the chaos, during challenging times, whether it's divorce, money challenges, job loss, health issues, family, caregiving, moving, a lot of us vocalize this out loud. Like we'll say, I can't feel my angels. I can't feel their presence. I can't feel my loved ones on the other side, or I'm having this trouble like hearing them. But the angel said that's really not true. What's true is that the environment, the frequency that you're in, like in your surroundings and your environment, has really changed. And you're getting used to navigating this new energy and this new frequency that you're in. But the angel said what hasn't changed is your angels care for you, that they're there, that they're supporting you, that they're talking to you. Even more than ever before, when you're in challenging times, when you're thrust into chaos, most times it's not because we want to be, it's really because that's what life is calling us into at that moment. We have to hold on to other energies, and the energy of belief, faith, trust. These are all energies that we can tune into. Like if you were just to meditate or pray one morning on what does trust feel like? What does faith feel like? What does belief feel like? You could feel all these different things. And when we really tune into that, we can feel their presence. So I would just wanted to say that because it wasn't Angela who brought it up, but a lot of people have been saying that to me lately, like, Julie, I can't feel my angels. I can't hear them anymore. That's not true. We want to change the script of what we're like vocalizing to ourselves within our own minds. The angels came in and said, you're just overwhelmed. There isn't enough space, solitude to hear your own intuition. A lot of times I think it personally, me in my own spare time, sometimes I just want to relax and I do zone out by like watching TV or seeing what other creators are putting out content wise. But it's not always really soul nourishing or soul like replenishing. And the angels said to tell everybody here today what is soul nourishing, what is soul replenishing is like quiet time. It's prayer, it's journaling, it's meditation, it's stretching, it's walking, it's being alone with your thoughts. So I kind of channeled that out through what you were talking about this morning, but also for the audience too. Have you been getting the same thing, Angela, from your angels?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned like when you were talking, the belief, like the words belief and trust came through loudly for me. So, in 2019, I knew my marriage was coming to an end eventually, and I think we briefly talked about that. I'm okay
Yeah.
talking about this. I think this is
Okay.
very valuable for a lot of women.
So valuable.
So 2019, I just felt in my intuition, like I love my children, I love my family, I love my ex-husband as a soul, right? As my earthly partner, but I just knew that I wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to, sorry, let me redo that because the baby.
Yeah.
Okay. So I knew in my heart that my marriage may not last forever. So I was actually making necessary steps to move forward with the divorce after 15 years of marriage. And a week later, after I made this decision, I found out that I was 4 weeks pregnant.
Mm.
So I had already been, something happened. I was like, okay, this is it. This is my clear sign from the universe. And a week later, I'm pregnant with the fourth child, right? And at that time, I felt like, what is going on? Like, God, universe, like, what are you doing? Why? Like, my intuition is telling me to leave, but now I'm pregnant with another baby, um, a baby that I never planned at this
Hmm.
time. Although it's weird, before that, I always kind of had a weird feeling that there was another soul that wants to come through me.
Hmm.
And it's like weird if I say the story. It sounds crazy to me as well, but I just knew, I think there's like another soul that wants to come. And
Yeah.
I had never envisioned having four children. So I was kind of
I don't
like,
think that that's crazy at all.
really?
No. So I don't know if I don't know if I've ever told this on the podcast. You know, sometimes with over 600 episodes, you're like, have I told that story before or not? So my sister tells me this sometimes. She thought I was crazy. We went on a bike ride, maybe right around the time when I got pregnant with Elle. And I was so frustrated because I just wanted to be pregnant. I was really, really worried about having endometriosis and PCOS. And just like it, with those things, it can be very, very difficult to get pregnant. So I was just worried about how it would be. But I told her, I feel like there's this soul on the other side that wants to come through. And she always refers back to that. And she's like, I thought you were crazy. But then she felt the same thing. And I hear a lot of women say that it's the soul on the other side communicating to the mama that they want to come through.
So if I didn't feel that soul nudge,
Yeah.
I may have, I mean, honestly, not that I'm, like against the freedom to choose for some women. For me, I just knew in my heart, okay, this is something I have to go through. So I had to put everything down, put faith, trust, like just believe in God and say, I have no idea why I'm in this place again. I thought I was kind of cycling out of my marriage, but okay, let's go. I accepted the calling, gave birth. A month after, literally the world like closed down. Pandemic happened. She was born in January, and then the pandemic happened in March.
Wow.
So I think the past five, and that's when I met you. And the past 5 years was honestly just like accepting this call. And my daughter, she's so amazing now, and she's like I see most of my spirit in her.
Oh,
It's
I
it's
love
so it's
that.
so yeah, I see myself in her eyes, and now I when I look at her, I always think to myself, and I don't tell anyone this, but what would I have done if you weren't here? Like, she just
Oh,
completed everything. So
yeah.
now I know it makes sense. Back then it didn't quite make sense. So, she's 5 years old now. Recent things happened recently where now I'm, divorced.
Yep.
The process started last year. So the timing of it was surrendered, right? Like, I had originally planned this many years ago. The baby came. So I had to kind of wait a little bit. Of course, I was hoping maybe this is another opportunity for my husband and I to figure things out and to try to resolve issues and try to move it forward. It didn't work out. I realize it's not always in my control, especially when something like marriage. It's a sacred bond, a contract between two people.
Yeah.
So now I'm divorced, and I reached out to you this morning because I feel like now I'm at another point in my life where I'm asked to trust, to surrender, and just believe in this new chapter that is so different from how I envisioned.
Yeah.
And I think
100%.
knowing I have, like, there was always that next step, right? Like, I always knew, okay, there's another baby, or there's
Mhm.
like this new job that I have to get my business to this next level. There's always like a goal in my mind, and that's how I've lived my, I think, entire adult
Yeah.
life. And right now, my goal is, for the first time, not about a child. It's
Yeah.
not about improving a marriage. It's not about even growing a business for money.
Yeah.
Now I feel like the soul calling
Hmm.
to start to move on to this like spiritual path
Mm.
that I never gave proper time, attention, and energy to. But that's
Yeah.
a little scary, right? Like, kind of
Yeah.
letting go of everything. 'Cause we're so used to chasing security, like whether it's building a family, you have one child and I want another baby, right? And then there's like that next baby. Everything's very material, something you can like see, hold.
Yeah.
and or something to like provide you with money, material things. For the first time in my life, in my 40s, I am asked to go on this path that is not related to any earthly things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where my split is happening right now. It's almost like a cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
I'm a very like type A, like controlled, disciplined, like creative. I'm always go, 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 just like output, output, money, 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 kids, kids, work, like a perfectionist. And now I'm just like almost like opening my hands and like
Yeah.
surrender.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm going back and forth. Okay, wait, this doesn't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's my ego telling me this is not safe. Like, why are you going this path? And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
anyone. I think I told you this morning, you're the most spiritual friend I have out
Mm.
of in my friend group, but even in my, family circle, I'm considered to be the most spiritual one. And
Yeah.
they come to me for guidance and for advice. And I'm supposed to be kind of like the spiritual leader of my community, and I'm here
Yeah.
feeling stuck.
Yeah.
And when I say stuck, it's not that I don't have faith. Like I know
Yeah.
that God, the universe will always provide. Like
For
that
sure.
faith and trust is always there, but it's
Yep.
just my human self
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to like make that each step, right? Like following the breadcrumb. So the funniest thing happens, I was going through, like this like spiritual awakening process this summer. This is my first summer as a solo parent, as a single
Yeah.
mom. It's been very empowering, but also very challenging at times because until now I had a partner, a physical
Mhm.
human body to do things with me. And now I'm the only parent with my four children.
Yeah.
And it's not something you can really prepare for. You just have to, like just move through it as needed.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, I made a conscious decision to be more intentional and be more present with myself and my children. Because this is a very important summer for all of us. I don't want to just, okay, mommy and daddy are divorced and just like start working again, right? Then
Yeah.
I didn't want my children to feel neglected. I just wanted to be present with them. If they ever have any questions, if there's any like behavioral changes, I wanted to be there fully present to witness it all. And luckily,
Mm-hmm.
they've been okay. I thought this time was for them, but it's actually more for me because for the first time in my life, I'm like sitting here with my thoughts and my
Mm-hmm.
feelings. And I realized I haven't done that in
Yeah.
so long, right? Like we as mothers and working women, we think we're being intentional, but you're really not if all you're doing is working and mothering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah,
You need that sacred space. You need like a place, a community to go within and make time for it all. That's the biggest thing that I get from people who are in my membership community is they're like, I would want to create that space for myself of like 1 hour a week to get, that meditation in or, like all the things that we do on every week we meet on Wednesday nights, but they're like, then stuff comes up and I would never do it. But when I'm in the membership, like it's every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, we're all together and it's just so grounding and so lifting of their spirit. So, a couple of things. There's a lot that I like wrote down. This I all wrote down like before you were talking, which I'm going to read, but I know you feel this way. I just want to make sure that the listeners get this too. Um, your baby's eyes. Oh my God, when you said that, she does. She has your eyes, Angela. It's like looking at two pieces of the same soul, like through both of your eyes. It's so beautiful. And I wanted to just mention to any women out there, they had me write down God gives women the freedom to choose, and we should really give women the freedom to choose. And I always like to tell people, there's no dings on the other side, for making that choice. That's not here or there. Let's keep going though with the conversation. I just didn't want any woman listening to be like, oh, everybody's a different journey. Everybody's got a different path.
I
Yeah.
agree completely, even though I'm a mother of four children, and that's my decision.
Oh, yeah. No,
I
I
would
know
never
you.
condemn any
Oh, I
woman
know.
for making their choices because
Yeah.
ultimately motherhood is a very lonely journey. And whether you have one partner or 10 partners, it doesn't matter. It's the mom that's raising the child. So whenever there are people that are trying to, like control these choices, I say, you're not the one raising the baby. So
Yeah.
ultimately, I think the choice lies on the woman who is actually doing the work. So, and it's
Yeah.
funny that you mentioned the eyes because as soon as the baby was born, and I knew she was meant to be like come from the other side through my body, that was the first thing I noticed when I gave birth to her. And
Mm.
again, it was like the most beautiful spiritual birth of my lifetime. I actually had her
Yeah.
unmedicated. I felt this like call to try. And I remember
Wow.
I told my gynecologist or my doctor at the, she was a female doctor, and she kept saying like, "Are you sure? Like, why are you choosing this when you already have three children? You could do the epidural." I just felt like I wanted to experience childbirth the way my ancestors did. I almost, yeah,
Wow.
and I felt like I was called for that experience,
Yeah.
and almost like I was meant to experience that. That'll kind of connect me to my mother, because my mom and my grandmother and her grandmother, they all had their children. My grandmother had four children. My mom has three. So there's a lot of children in my maternal lineage, and I just felt like that was maybe the tie
Yeah.
that, again, not saying that it's necessary, but for me,
Sure.
it was like a spiritual journey.
Wow.
Yeah, and I gave birth to her non-medicated, and when I told my doctor, the female doctor, luckily, I feel like I didn't even choose her. I think it was like the spirit guiding me to her. And as soon as I said, I want to experience this the way my ancestors did, she got it.
Yeah.
After that, there were no other questions about it. She was supportive. She got it, and I did it. And I've never felt so empowered and like connected to my maternal spiritual essence as
Mm-hmm.
that moment.
Wow.
Yeah, and then all the natural like endorphins or the hormones that your body just pumps out. Because
Yeah.
I was completely unmedicated. Just I was almost like I couldn't believe. I've never felt euphoria like that in
Oh
my
my
life. Like
goodness.
I've experimented with, like with drugs, like in my past, like the dark ages of my life when before I became a mom, but
Yeah.
nothing felt like that. I truly
Wow.
felt like one with God, the universe, with the
Right
creative.
after? Or
Right, about 30 minutes after. Yeah. As soon as you give birth, the baby comes out and your body just does this thing where you're just pumped like these like love hormones where you just feel intense love. And I would never forget that feeling. And I remember 20 minutes after they were wheeling me out and I told the nurse like I want to do that again.
oh
And
my
she was
goodness.
laughing. Yeah, she was laughing. She's like, I hear this from women who actually go through it the way you did. So, I mean, again, birth
Wow.
is not that easy. My first one was traumatic. My very first one was really hard.
Yeah.
But, this was my fourth baby. But yeah, it was a very beautiful, I'm getting chills everywhere. It was a very
Yeah.
beautiful experience of my life. And I
Oh
think
my gosh.
I was meant to experience that. And as soon as the baby came out, the first thing I noticed was her eyes.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm in there somewhere.
Oh, that's
So yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, two things I just want to bring up for the audience. I am following this new Instagram account. It's called Girl News or something like that. And they said, to your point before about having a female doctor, rah rah, all for men doctors too, but they said in there that women are 33% more likely or something like that to have major complications if they're working with a male doctor or surgeon versus a female. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I think because our like current medical system, it kind of controls, right?
Yeah.
You set a C-section date, and your water breaks, and if it's been more than 12 hours, and you have to get an epidural. They have these like systems set in place. And I wish I had known these things before. In my 20s and my 30s, when I became a mom, then I didn't really know. For my last one, I was very intentional, and I read books about natural childbirth, and I decided to just trust my body. So, everything just happened naturally. And as you know, we are all like a vessel of God, right? Of
Mhm.
of creation, and we all carry extreme power, especially as women. Not saying men don't have power, but as
Yes.
women and as mothers, right? We're like almost like in that moment, we're one with God,
Yeah.
creating a new life, like literally bringing new life into this world. So I'm so grateful that I had that experience. And when I see my daughter now, like she's just so
Pure
perfect. Like she
love.
just fits, yes, like she
Oh,
just
yeah.
fits my
She's so
life,
warm.
the family. Yeah, and she kind of has like this rebel energy. She's
Yeah.
I can tell she might be the most difficult one out of all my four children, but of course I don't expect anything less. Because it's almost like a sacred rebel,
Yeah.
comes up
Oh,
like
yeah.
to make
Purposeful.
changes. Yes, purposeful. Like her
Yeah.
rebellious spirit is for a reason, and
Well,
I
I
welcome
actually,
that.
oh yeah, I think that that's very purposeful. Um, I was what do they call that? Not difficult. Oh my gosh, there's a word that my mom would always use for me. I'll remember it later on. But basically, I never did what she was telling me to do. And I remember after going through my spiritual awakening and starting the podcast and kind of having this aha moment of, oh my goodness, looking back, I had to really rebel and hold on to myself and my soul and my sacredness in order to do this work. If I was just bowing down all the time to everybody else, you lose your voice. You just completely lose your voice over time. And when you keep that with you, other people look at it as you're being difficult or you're fiery or you're too much. But how else are you supposed to be?
Yeah, I know. I can totally, and you know about this. We talked about
Yeah.
this before, but I was raised in a very traditional Catholic household. My mom, she's so spiritual, and now she's like entering her 70s, so her relationship to God is a lot more flexible and fluid. But when
Oh,
she
that's
was
cool.
raising us, like a Catholic in her 30s, she was very like by the book, and
Yeah.
we couldn't miss a single, mass, and everything was very. I hated rules and guidelines, and I always wanted to escape and be more free. And that was also a part of
Yeah.
my spirit, which is why I think my teenage and my early adolescent years were a little difficult. Now looking back, it's never without a reason. But I think as a mom, I can like who else can raise another rebellious female spirit than someone like me,
Totally.
right? Someone who has
Yeah.
actually gone through it. So I think that's why she came, as my daughter. And I've always been I would question authorities.
Yeah.
When they tell me, well, this is just the way it's been done, I would find other ways to do it. I think that's just always been my spirit. And as an artist and as a creative and as a writer, you kind of
Yeah.
have to have that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
prescribed rules don't really apply,
Oh,
especially when you're trying to
100%.
create something new, right?
Yes, yes. So let's go there. I wrote down fear wants to hold on to what was and or the idea of the way that we wanted things to go, the way that we wanted things to be. But the soul wants to make space for what is and what is to come, a new divine vision that is to come in divine time. All of this was felt much, much earlier. I think of you as just being one of the biggest empaths. I don't know if you think about yourself that way. But, I think what's really, really fascinating is that not all people understand what it is to be empathic. And as I was thinking about this morning, on December 16th, I think it was around then, we had the doctor's appointment last year in 2024 for Elle. And I just expected to go into the doctor's appointment and they're like, yeah, her brace is doing its thing. Her curves are holding. She's getting better. But I was just shocked when the doctor was like, it's gotten much, much worse. The curves have gotten much, much worse. We may need to talk about surgery. And he said, but we'll talk about that in summer of 2025, when that is to come. And immediately when he said may need surgery, the angels like flashed this vision in my head. And other people might not say it's the angels, but that they just get visions. That is the vision, like the angels placing a vision within you. And Angela, I think that you got this about your relationship way before, but it's like to prepare you, right? Like I could see that this was going to be a surgery year for me and for her. I knew that she couldn't wait. Like I just felt it right from the beginning. And I'm so glad that I did, because the surgeons in Chicago don't talk about VBT surgery, which is this surgery where you retain flexibility of the spine. They would just talk about fusion because that's what they do. Doctors sell the surgery that they do, right? And so Spirit was like, don't wait until next summer. Like you have to hop on this now. And I remember just all of January last year was like research. And it brought me to, okay, well, we need to go to different doctors. We're going to have to travel for this. We've never done that before. But I felt that nervousness that you were talking about earlier, like, okay, like this isn't what we anticipated. This isn't what we wanted. And Spirit just said, you just have to go through a rebuilding year. Like it just is what it is. Beautiful souls, this has been one of the hardest years and we're still kind of in the thick of it. And I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you so incredibly much to everyone who financially supports my work. Truly, I could not do this work without you. And I am so beyond grateful. For those of you who do want to support my work, I do have a new Sacred Women's Circles. They're all beginning, all of the circles, August 1st. You can now sign up on my website, theangelmedium.com, then go to the Women's Circles tab. Also, friends, I just read a report, and this isn't to scare you. The angels want to prepare you. This report has talked about how over the next decade, 33% of all jobs in the U.S. could be eliminated and 47% total could be disrupted due to new AI technology. Again, this isn't to scare you, but your angels want you to be prepared. Friends, I would love to teach you the skills of being an angel messenger, energy healer, and medium, all in one at my Angel Reiki School. If you've been feeling called to serve humanity or start your own healing business, please do not wait. This is your sign. Your angels are trying to work with you on a whole new level. Friends, a whole new Angel Reiki School begins online August 1st. And when you sign up this month for the online program, I'm gifting you free tuition to also attend in person at any of the 3 to 4 in-person Angel Reiki schools that we're going to have over the next 12 months. They're always held in the Chicago suburbs because it takes a few carloads to get all of the materials, massage tables that we use over there. Friends, the Angel Reiki School certifies you in all 3 modalities at once, giving you a really unique edge. Also, friends, one more thing. If you love this podcast and want to support me, we're starting a whole new course August 1st in the Angel membership. It's called Release Fear and Step into Your Power. You can sign up for the Sacred Women's Circles, Angel Reiki School, and the membership all on my website, theangelmedium.com. If you want more info, use the contact form over at the theangelmedium.com to submit your question. I read all of them. And from the bottom of my heart, friends, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for supporting my work. I truly couldn't keep all of this going without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now back to the show.
Oh my gosh, that resonates with me like so strongly. It is what it
Really?
is. Like this is a year of rebuilding. Yes, because first of all, I know that Elle is your daughter for a reason. I think not everyone can handle or equipped with the abilities and the resources to support a child with, various conditions. I also have my first daughter was born with a genetic condition that no one can explain. Like it took me 6 years to get an answer, which would
Wow.
drive any mom crazy, right? Like we're
Yes.
trying to ask one genetic test after another, nothing shows up. It turns out her genetic condition, specifically it's called SYNGAP1, and doctors don't even know what it is because it's so new. She was born
Wow.
in 2005, and this term was coined that this genetic condition was discovered in 2009.
Wow.
So it didn't even exist while when she was born. So when I looked for these groups, because even my doctor was like, there's no research on this. This is entirely new. What's really interesting is this is not hereditary. It's not genetic. So all the kids
Ours
that have
either.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
and every kid who has it, like they're the first generation to carry it. There's no research. He said you should just try to find like a Facebook group. There were 200 people in the entire world, like, and I'm like left with this child, I'm like in my 20s, not knowing where to go. Again, you know what, now that you mention it, my entire
Yeah.
life looked like this, just trust and faith. I have to figure it out. God just gives me like, here you go, here's your surprise, and I have to figure it out. That's what that felt like. So,
Yeah.
of all the genetic conditions that my child could have, this condition, it's entirely new, and she's one of the first ones to be researched, right? And no
Wow.
one, even the geneticist can't tell me what it is. So yeah, literally, he said, "I'm sorry, I don't know this. It's so new." Just this recent trip to Korea, I was seeing different doctors because my daughter was having some like new symptoms and I needed medication. None of them knew what it was.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we're part of a larger group of parents. The community is growing. They're
Yeah.
discovering that some of the adults, like older people, actually have this, but they lived 25, 30 years not knowing exactly what it was. Like it's a lot. So when I
Yeah.
discovered that, I was like, okay, so God really loves to give me these like I consider it like lottery. Like I get chosen for these like amazing circumstances and situations that appear to be hard at the time. And don't get me wrong, it's so hard. But it's like something that I just have to walk through.
Yeah.
Um, I became more like well versed with like the angels and spirit guides in recent years. I think my real awakening kind of coincided with the birth of my daughter and
Mhm.
my journey through the divorce. And it's funny, I think you're the one who mentioned to me like you've kind of sensed like divorce in my future. It's almost like you were mirroring back to me what I had already known deep
Yeah.
inside my heart. And it was like a secret that I was carrying inside me. Because, on the outside, you want everything to kind of work out. And there's like the perfectionism, there's the image, there's this desire to control and create an outcome that I want, right? That
Yeah.
I've envisioned. Ever since I was a young girl, I wanted a happy family and a happily ever after marriage. Like, who doesn't want that? I don't
Hmm.
come from a family with a lot of divorce.
Yes.
So it's hard, it's hard to be the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you told me that, I was like, yeah, she sees it. Like you're right.
Yeah.
And you're not the first person who told me this. Like there were actually a few people that picked up on this with like spiritual gifts. So I think I always knew it was just a matter of like acting upon it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of female listeners out there too, that people think divorce is like this, like you get hit by a like a lightning strikes one day, and you just wake up, you're like, oh, I'm going. It doesn't
It
work like
doesn't work
that.
that way.
It's a
No.
slow, it comes in slow, like intuitive nudges, slow waves of inner
For
knowing
women.
for women. Yeah,
For
you're right.
women.
Yeah, I don't know how, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you just kind of feel like, and I just recently wrote about this, like, you're like, this is not what marriage is supposed to feel like. This is not how I want to be loved, right? Like, this is
Yeah.
not how motherhood should feel. But they're like small little whispers. And now looking back, it is the angels, like, it is the
Yeah.
guides, it is my intuition. But when I try to talk about this with like older women in my life, because
Mhm.
I was one of the first ones to have children. So a lot of my, friends were still new to marriage. They would tell me like, "Oh, don't worry. Like you just have to all men are like that. Like love like that doesn't exist. Like that's just how it is." And now looking back, I don't think they meant harm, but
Yeah.
I do feel like these outside voices kind of kept me stuck in situations and cycles that were not true to my soul.
Hmm.
Like I always knew this doesn't feel good, but everyone else is telling me this is what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
So, again, it's not even like the fault of my ex-husband. I mean, he's just, doing his
Yeah.
job as a earthly husband in the material world. But I feel like eventually my soul kind of outgrew this marriage. And
Right.
like my soul wanted to fly away and do this like new thing and enter this new chapter, but that was causing friction,
Hmm.
in my marriage.
A
So
hundred
I
percent.
think for a lot of women, like the spiritual awakening, soul awakening journey, it does require leaving spaces and confines that keep your soul kind of stuck.
Well, and when we ask other people for their opinion before we go into our own selves and kind of digest things, process, ask ourselves questions, that's a really big indicator to me of who's really tuning in to their spirit team, who's talking to their soul self, who's listening to their intuition. And versus those who really just want somebody else to tell them the answer. And I do think there is something where the angels say, empaths do see things coming years and years and years in advance. And sometimes we have a resistance to it at the beginning, like I just thought with Elle's back, just put her in this brace and this brace is going to fix it, or we go through marriage counseling, or we try and do all of the things to fix it. But I really don't think, looking back, that it actually is a resistance. I think it's a massive quest for clarity, like this journey to really have concrete clarity to say, you know what, I did everything that I could. And you have to give yourself that, Angela, that like peace of mind, because you really did. Like you did everything in your power to try and make this work. But at the end of the day, a relationship is two people. And if the other person isn't going to hear you, listen to you, validate you, or be on board with where you want to go in life, then you have to make decisions.
And I think especially now in the modern world, I know that our ancestors, like my mom, her mom, they didn't really have the freedom to choose, right? Often they
Yeah.
were just bound to marriages because out of survival, out of necessity. And I
Yes.
find that now as a like millennial, we're the first generation of women that actually have a choice, right?
Yeah.
Like that are actually making these choices and kind of like again, here comes the rebel, right? Trying to break out of not even try. I think this is just my soul essence. Like I was just born this way where if
Mhm.
there's a structure set in place, I ask, okay, but if it's not serving me, I don't want to be stuck in it. And I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what the spiritual journey looks like. We often have to like break out of these bounds, right? And these prescribed notions of, what is right and wrong. But I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard of the term empath, right? I think we're all used to that. We've heard this a lot. But when you mentioned like we already know things before they come,
Sure.
like that's interesting to me if you can like go more into detail about that. Because when we use the word empath, like it's just someone that intuitively picks up on things like our surrounding or other people, their thoughts and their energy. And I feel like in recent years, ever since I started this like next chapter of my spiritual journey, I feel it more. Like I can literally
Mhm.
walk into a room and feel the energy of the space. I can meet a person. And again, none of it is conscious. I'm not here thinking like I'm gonna judge this person and see if they're, like vibrating high. Like
Yeah.
it's not even through my head or my brain or my logic. I just like intuitively know. It's like an
Yeah.
inner knowing. So if you can kind of go into that and tell me a little more about like traits of an empath and like how these intuitive hits come,
Yeah.
because I think that's another challenge for me too, is learning to trust that. So I think
Mhm.
I've had it my entire life. Looking
Oh,
back,
yeah.
I always had feelings, I had dreams. I had like a bird visiting me all week last week. It was insane.
Oh,
Like, was it
beautiful.
2 weeks ago? And the bird just kept tapping on my window and it wouldn't stop
Wow.
every morning. And I to a point where I was like, okay, this must be a message from the universe. So I've had a lot of these like synchronistic things that happen in recent years that's aligning with my next chapter, this like sacred pause that I'm in. But yeah, I would love to get your guidance. And if you can tell me more
Yeah.
about that, I think that'd be very helpful, not just for me,
Yeah.
but for other listeners.
100%. So empaths, what I was trying to say earlier, and I don't know if I communicated this right, is we have always had that knowingness. How could we not, right? Like that is from the soul, and you're always the soul first. You're so deeply connected. And so oftentimes, you're right, from childhood, we just have things that are like these huge signs on the highway that we gravitate towards. Imagine that you're on the other side before you even came in for this lifetime, right? And you get shown the entire thing. Really, maybe to us in human time, it takes 3 minutes for them to like see the entire life and you for to go, yeah, okay, I could do that. But you're as a soul absorbing all of it, the mile markers. I don't think that we know how everybody else is going to choose their free will, because that's what free will is, right? Like they have the option to choose every choice in life. But you go through life and just some things hit different, right? Whether it's a person or something. I remember being in high school and these kids, or no, middle school, and these kids came in from high school and they're like, you're going to be in high school next year. We have this newspaper thing that you can do, this journalism, paper that you can write for. And just it hit different. I remember going home and telling my mom, and she's like, you have to do that. You have to do that. I still take that teacher, who was my teacher all 4 years in high school, out to lunch and stay in regular contact with her. And I really wouldn't have started the podcast without that. But you don't really understand when you're in the middle of it how all the puzzle pieces connect. I think from this perspective of having the podcast, having interviewed people, and having worked with so many people myself, what I would say is there's some people who allow themselves to stop by those big signs and get knocked over by them and be like, oh, that's for me. There's something there. And then there's other people who really just want what they want and keep going full speed towards what they want. And when we do that, we're really bypassing the soul, right? And so let me see. I remember knowing when I was in elementary school that I wanted to be a priest or a nun, but then they wouldn't let you do that, right? And so I thought, well, I was wrong or I was bad. And then I remember being in middle school and high school and reading spiritual teachers like Marianne Williamson and being like, okay, well, then that's what I want to do. And just those gut knowingnesses. I even knew when I was young that I wanted to have children, a child, to have a partner, to have a family. And I do know people who knew when they were young that they didn't want that. What is that? What is it that it's been with us all of these years? But you can also be in the current moment in your life and forecast out. Like, I'm doing a spiritual retreat this weekend, and this is one of the things that I'm going to do with them is, okay, you're here in this physical body right now. What is it that's really calling to your heart? What's calling to you? What's been calling to you that you haven't tuned into, that you won't allow yourself to really want it? But whatever's with you in your heart right now, whatever you've been seeing, isn't just there because it's wishful thinking. Like, that's there because it's for you, it's meant for you.
Yeah, yeah. So it's so interesting that you say this because everything that's happened throughout my life, it's almost like I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
My ex-husband now, for some reason, I had a feeling I was gonna end up marrying him. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just had this feeling, and I think I told him, I think I'm gonna marry him, and I ended up marrying him. Um, and in my marriage, I couldn't envision my deathbed with him by my
Mm.
side. Like, I'm always,
Oh,
because I have like this one vision in my life. It's, you see those um, like reels or videos of like an old couple. There's like an old grandma and an
yeah.
old grandma, and they're like, mid to late like 70s and 80s, and they're just so madly in love with each other.
Yes.
And you can tell that this is like those high vibration, like amazing, most beautiful love that they've, cultivated over the years. Like to me, that's my end goal. Like,
Yeah.
of course I want to have enough money and I want my kids to be healthy. Like that's all there, but that's the ultimate end goal of my soul. And when I try to fast forward and envision that, I couldn't see my husband, the father of my children, next to me. So I think I always knew that. Um, the divorce in my 40s, as hard as it was when I was going through it, I think deep down inside, intuitively, I always knew.
Yeah.
And even my future, I almost feel like I kind of know. Like, I think this
Yeah.
conversation with you is reminding me, like, I already know where I'm going. It's just the fear, it's
Yeah.
just the ego, it's just the having to pivot, having to
Mhm.
rise out of our comfort zone, right? Like, I had my identity for so long as a mother, as a wife. And in a way that gives you comfort, right? Like there's a meaning outside of me just being a woman,
Mhm.
Angela, right? When you're a mom, you're busy raising your children. When you're a wife, you have to, like please or serve or do your part as a wife, as a mother. I think for the first time in my life, I am like faced with myself, and I have to ask myself, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Stripped from all those titles, like, who are you as a soul? And that's what this summer has really been teaching me. I thought the
Mm.
summer was for my kids, but it was actually more for me. And God tends to do that. I'm realizing that's what happens in my life where I feel like I'm doing something for other people, but it's actually more for me. God is like
Yeah.
saying, you have to look at yourself first before you try to go like save the world. For me, it's like for me, saving the world is like saving my kids, or being there for my community of women and moms, right? Like I've always had my identity tied to helping others, and I think now for the first time I'm realizing I have to help myself get
Yep.
to, like, if it's like a boat, I have to get the sail right, because this is like my next chapter opening. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and I
Well,
am I yeah.
Spirit had me write this down for you too. When you said it before, and they reminded me when you said it again. Creators are creating the path as well. Creators, a lot of empaths who feel called to create movement within the world. What they're doing hasn't been done yet, and they rely so heavily on that empathic nature because they are channeling it through. And you can't copy something, you can't replicate something that's already been done. And a lot of the energy, I'm going to talk about this in another episode, but the energy right now on Earth, if you lived in 1999 and you were kind of aware in 1999 of what life was like, remember when everybody was so nervous about getting to New Year's and like Y2K and is everything going to go dark? You know, all the electricity is going to go out. What's going to happen? It didn't. It was just a total revolutionary period of this information age just starting to come forward. And we're really at that point again where there's something new emerging, there's something coming in. And I think a lot of us who are creators really don't want it to be the way that it's been over the last 5 years, that the algorithms really get to dictate what's creative and what's not. And so before all of us is just this complete jungle, right? There is no road for us to drive over. There is no car. We're walking through it with a machete, just kind of like hacking our way forward. And that's what leaders do. That's what creators are here to do, is create the road that everybody else is going to come in on with their cars and drive over. But it's also happening so fast that I think that everybody needs more than ever before. And this is going to continue for the next 50 years to really tune in to their own spirituality, because I think that there's almost like a fake spirituality emerging where people think that they're getting respite, they're getting nourished, they're getting, relaxed and replenished through these various different things, but it's not. And it's not soul work. And a lot of people feel very empty on a soul level, not you, but just a lot of people that I'm seeing. So watch out for that, listeners, that you really need to identify, hey, what do I need for me? I have a toothbrush in my bathroom so I can brush my teeth every night. I have my facial soap, I have my hair soap. What is it that you need soul care wise to take care of yourself? Because nobody else is coming in to help you with this. And the more that we push off our empathic nature, push off our sensitivity, push off, what we know is coming in the future, our own intuition, it doesn't get us where we're going faster. It's like putting all of this weight on you that just slows you down or drives you in circles. The more that you step into your own intuition, even though it is scary, even though you don't know what's coming ahead, I promise you it is so much better, easier, faster. And I think that we're here to teach people. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you own your feelings. Yes, you cry when you need to cry and you get down when you need to get down. But also, how freaking exciting is it that we are the souls that got to be here at this time, this moment in time, because we're shifting everything.
You're so right about that. I recently I've been using Threads a lot because the algorithm,
What is
Instagram,
Threads?
TikTok. Threads is it's almost like a Twitter, but
Oh,
it's
but
where you just
yeah,
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 old school Twitter. But you're right. When I first started my career as like a mom blogger, this was like that mom bloggers are really in, and then there's like a second generation of mom influencers or creators kind of shifting into Instagram. And I loved being on there. Like I was able to just connect with other women and talk to
yeah,
other moms because I was stuck at home like raising young children. So it was a very happy time. It
yeah.
was a very creative time, and I genuinely made like so many amazing uh friends, and we created a community of other women and mothers. It was a very enjoyable time. And then of course it had to become something else. And now when I open my Instagram or TikTok, there's just like so much noise, and everything is
Mhm.
like algorithm. All the content is like algorithm driven. Whatever is viral, whatever is trending. And I just see the same, all my, like the people that I'm following doing the same trend that
Yeah.
I understand like the value of entertaining content. And I get it. Sometimes we want to be entertained and like mindless scroll, but that can't be the only thing, right? That
It
can't be
doesn't
the only
feel
thing that
good.
we consume. No, it
It's the
doesn't.
box. It's like the jail. Like it feels like
Yes.
you have to do this. Well, then I don't want to do that. I
Yeah,
don't,
and yeah, exactly. And I've been thinking a lot about the movie Matrix lately.
yes,
I don't
yes,
know why I keep coming back to the Matrix because I feel like that's happening right now.
yeah,
Like I'm seeing a lot of parallels. I know that movie's kind of old, but whatever, because at that time the movie just felt so futuristic,
yeah.
right? Everyone's like trapped in this like, matrix. And when I look at how things are right now, like with AI, I mean ChatGPT, I do use it sometimes, but the way content is looking, the way algorithm is looking, what the algorithm is feeding me, I literally feel like we're in the matrix.
Well,
And
I'll break it down for you just a little bit if you want to hear it, because I think this is really fascinating. I'm going to do a whole episode. I've been telling the listeners for like 2 months I'm going to do this episode. I just haven't had time to like give it all. But here's like a mini snippet, and I'm going to go to like the way woo woo. So if you're not really woo woo, I apologize. But okay. So just track with me here. So with AI, I do think that it is going to be like we wake up and there's just going to be like entire jobs that are gone, like bots that are accountants and bots that, do your tile and just can kind of do a lot where you wake up and there's just jobs that are completely taken. With that, what a lot of people are saying in the background is that there could be a lot of crime that happens. I don't want people to worry about that. I have really explored this mentally. I do not see the world going to a place of just crazy apocalypse. I don't see that at all. I really have a lot of peace when it comes to the future, but there's some things that I haven't totally figured out. And one of them is with all of that crime, what they're saying is that there is going to be some sort of metaverse where even beyond Facebook, Instagram, we're going to be much more inside a virtual reality than even we are right now. If you think, most teen girls are like on Instagram or TikTok, most boys are on video games. Imagine that all merging into this online matrix simulated thing where people earn an income in there, right? So if people are really, a lot of people are more inside this online simulated reality, earning this income, not really wanting to take care of their physical body. If you're in this online simulation, one of the things that I've been shown from the angels is that there's a lot of people who will start to look at the physical body as a nuisance, something that I have to take care of. I have to come out of this matrix, metaverse, virtual reality to take care of my body. My body can get sick. And so will they start to at some point not want a physical body? Is the point eventually that some will they take the consciousness? Because this is something I've been exploring for over 10 years. As a journalist, I'm always looking for the headlines. I used to pick for ABC and NBC as an intern, the headlines. And so I look for the headlines that disappear right away, that should have become bigger news. And I saw it about 10 years ago where they said, by 2050, scientists will be able to take your consciousness out of your physical body and put it into something else, right? That movie Mountainhead on HBO was kind of talking about that, but that's actually true. They're looking for it. And scientists that I've talked to have said, what's really fascinating, Julie, is that they thought that the consciousness was only inside the brain, that they would be able to go in, extract it, but they can't take it all out because it's not just in the brain. It's in your auric field, it's in your body, it's everywhere. And so I do kind of wonder if they're having a harder time with that than they thought that they would. But that's their goal, is to be able to take the consciousness out. So is that the ultimate goal of some of these tech companies, is to put your consciousness completely into this more virtual reality 50, 75, 100 years down the road?
That's like kind of scary. Maybe call me old school, but I don't, that's a very scary thought. And I'm raising children and my older ones are, in their teens. And when I compare the world, their their social media world then to now, like with my younger kids, it's another generation. Gen Z
Yeah.
and Gen Alpha are completely different.
Ooh, how
YouTube didn't
so? Tell
exist.
everybody how
So
so.
yeah, so my older daughters, one's just graduated high school. She's going off to college. She excelled in school. Really good girl. When she was young, I thought she was watching too much TV when she was on Netflix, right? She was
Yeah.
watching Netflix for a couple hours a day while I'm like doing dishes and things. But these were all, I guess, created by people who are, like they're legitimate creators of these children's shows. And I'm sure they have like educational experts that are able to give them advice and like guide them. But now the younger kids are all about YouTube. So from like Gen Alpha, they don't want to watch movies. I always try to get them to watch classics, like long form, like just Disney or you know just normal like wholesome movies. They are just into these short form
Yeah.
shorts
Oh,
created
yeah.
by other creators that have like no right like they have no guidelines, there
Yeah.
are no like boundaries, and there's no like I guess they do have like a child safety or like age rating, but you can't always right like
No.
you can't always control that on YouTube, and that's what they're into. And my 8-year-old just asked for a VR headset
Oh,
for his birthday, and I'm starting to see the changes of like their world versus even Gen Z.
yeah.
And as a parent, it's kind of alarming. And as much as I know this is just the way, like I can't stop the world from changing, right? It's only
Yeah.
me. It's really making me realize the value of like just connecting with your soul,
Yeah.
like that, just that ancient,
To
right? Like
not
that
lose
old
it.
school, yeah, like
Yeah.
way of just living, just praying and just being there and just being present and being together, like as in person. I don't know. Their worlds are so different. I have concerns about how they will be, how their brains will be when they're in their teen years. And just
Oh,
watching,
100%.
two different, generations within like a span of 10-year difference, growing
Mm-hmm.
up so differently, it does make me concerned. And I think it also makes me realize like how important for us women and mothers to stay grounded in our
Yes.
spirituality, because we're the ones that are raising them. Essentially, we're the ones that's like their lighthouse, we're their guide.
A
They
hundred
look to
percent.
us, and unless we're centered,
Oh,
unless we're doing soul aligned work, they can get really lost in the matrix in the metaverse one day.
oh my God, 100%. And I think that we're actually in that fight right now. If you watch that Four Seasons with, oh gosh, what is her name from 30 Rock? Who was in it? She's so good. There was like this whole conversation between a husband and wife of just she's scrolling at night and he's not even feeling connected to her anymore. But I do see in the future where it's going to start to split and to shift. And this is something I'll talk about more later too. But I think a lot of people are going to reject technology, where you're going to see a lot of people want to get back to using their hands, kind of being on farms. And I think you're going to see entire communities, if not territories or states, that just really want to be not with a lot of technology.
Just be human again, right? Also, do
Yeah.
you kind of sense that? That's so interesting you said that
Oh,
because
well, because
we're
that's like the opposite of what spirit shows. Like, so spirit shows me both futures that both are going to
okay.
be part of this. Yes.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
I know what I'm gonna choose when that split happens. I'm just gonna be with the humans. I'm not
I
going
know.
into the metaverse.
I know.
Yeah.
A farm with some chickens
Yes, just
where I
grow
can.
your own chickens, grow your own vegetables and plants. And but that's so interesting you mentioned that because for my career, I've been a mom creator, which turned became an influencer, And I made this entire career out of that. And recently, as I'm on this journey of awakening,
Yeah.
I don't really align with it anymore because it's all about likes and the views and the algorithms. Even when I want to create something new, before I used to be able to create from the heart, from
Yeah.
my soul, for my audience. But now I don't even think my audience sees my content. Now I have to feed the algorithm, feed the machine. So even as I'm creating, I'm not thinking about what value can I add to my followers, or I'm not, that's not because now I have to think about what value, how viral would this content be? What would
Right.
the algorithm like? And that doesn't feel good to me.
It doesn't. It
It
doesn't feel good to me
doesn't.
either.
Right. And before, content creation used to be from the heart,
Yeah.
longer captions, images that mean something to me, photographs and videos that actually, sure, some of them were sponsored, but there was actual joy
Yeah.
and creativity in it. But nowadays, when I get a sponsored job, it's like you have to feed the algorithm. What is trending? Use that hook to grab your audience's attention. It's like half the people that have followed me over the past 10 years don't even see my content unless like it gets fed into this machine. And it really kind of sucked the joy out of creation for me for a
Yeah.
while. So
How'd you find your
recently,
way back from that? Yeah.
yeah, so I took a step back. Instagram is definitely not what it used to be. I hear TikTok is going down eventually, or they're doing, there's like political, right, reasons behind it. I decided to take a step back, and recently I just began writing again.
Mhm.
So on Substack, I don't know if it's a community.
Yeah.
It's kind of like old school blogging, Tumblr. It's almost like we've come back to
Yep.
early 2000s in a brand new format. And I see people there where I think this is like the people on the farm. It's like the people who
Yes.
are refusing to feed the algorithm. So all the writers are there. I think you could, like there's politicians, there's
I've been feeling
activists,
called
there's
over to this.
creators.
Yes.
Yes, so I just started. I opened it like 6 months. I'm not really writing in it heavy right now, but I'm gonna start to actually. But it feels a lot human. Like you're
Good.
not feeding the algorithm. There's a clear voice. You don't have to be a celebrity or insta famous person to be seen, and it feels like the old days. Like
Yeah.
we've come back 20 years. I do you remember like the old school blogging, the
Oh my gosh.
Tumblr
Of
days?
course.
It feels
Yes.
like that, and it's kind of great. And I've been kind of channeling my focus into that because it just feels more aligned to my
Yeah.
soul right now.
So there aren't any
Because
algorithms over there.
I think they have their own. I have yet
Okay.
to figure it out, but I do feel that the algorithm is a lot more genuine. And
Mm,
it's also the viewership. I think it's people who are looking for more genuine, human, everyday content versus Instagram or TikTok that is they're just looking for trending stuff, like the latest
yeah.
trend, the latest hook, the viral things. And I just
Yeah.
saw like,
Boring.
yeah, I'm seeing this trend where it's like is it Nicki Minaj or maybe I got this wrong, but it's like women wearing like high heel stilettos on this like stack of books, and they're like reading something, and it's a fun trend that's going viral. It's fun, but I see everyone doing it. So you're spending like 5 hours out of your day, right? Putting on makeup, getting dressed up, setting up a stack of books to be on this kitchen counter to film this reel to feed the algorithm. You just spend 5 hours of your day doing that. But for what? Like, what is the
Yeah.
value of this?
Yeah.
Sure, it's
Right.
entertainment, but why do we all have to do that?
Right.
Right? Like, so
Yeah.
I keep finding myself asking that question whenever again, don't get me wrong. I think some trends are beautiful. If it's something that I find value in it, you should, join it. But I see a lot of meaningless, just time and energy sucking, viral trends. And it makes me think about not only me as a viewer and not only like the tens and thousands of people that are watching this, but how about the creators? They're spending, right? Like
Yeah.
3 to 5 hours creating this. And what are we becoming,
So I
right?
was just out in LA for business, and I've had probably like 20 conversations in the last month that have gone like, it's all earmuffs, kids, earmuffs. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Everything, like when you are in the Wizard of Oz and you get to go peek behind the screen and you look at what everything really is, I'm telling you, it's all bullshit. And so I had this one just like really, really deep conversation while I was out there, and she was telling me about how she went to a healer circle and they had been working with this woman for a couple of years to help her with her illness. And she was on her deathbed. And she asked them all, this healer circle, to come in and just be with her as she passed. And so they're all there. And basically, what she said in her last words were, oh my gosh, it was never about the next thing, right? The next book or the next this that I was going to create. She said in her final words, final moments, it was all about the moments that we get to be here with just another soul connecting, talking, sharing. And that's it. You know, there is some beauty in creation when you have the freedom to do it because it comes from your soul. But that creativity sparks from these beautiful conversations that we get to have just one on one, soul to soul, or with groups of people like we're going to do this weekend at the retreat. That's meaningful.
So yeah, you're so right about that. And I feel that we're now battling against the machine, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's AI, the algorithm, or the metaverse, I do see that coming. YouTube Shorts, our kids are just being bombarded with a lot of bullshit. I
Yeah.
completely agree because now my soul, like I can pick it up, right? Like now that we're older, we're mature, we're wiser, this is meaningless, yet this
Yeah.
is kind of where the world is going. So that means it's like these like in-person workshops, right? Like books, like what I used to
Yeah.
physical books, like touching tangible
Oh,
pages, like writing
yes.
on a journal, human things, human activities that a machine or the algorithm cannot do and produce. I do agree that now it's becoming more and more valuable than ever.
Yeah.
And we have to
100%.
kind of lead that process. Our kids are
Yeah.
looking to us for direction. And I think when like Instagram and TikTok, when social media first came about, it was fun because it was a tool to connect us to other humans. And that's
Yeah.
really what it felt like because we can't always connect to like someone across the world without this tool. But eventually now we're getting sucked in.
Yeah.
Now these tools are starting to own us,
Mm-hmm.
and we're becoming a slave to the algorithm. And yeah, I'm not okay with that. So if the world splits, I'm gonna be on the farm
We're going
growing
to be at the
organic
farm
vegetable.
together.
Yes, we're gonna be there together.
I
Yes.
want those long, fluffy chickens. The ones with like the
Yes.
long,
Oh
they're so
yeah.
cute. Oh no, they got the
Oh
fluffy little legs.
yes. Yes. I want to grow some bunnies and I want to
Yes.
grow and have some like beautiful rose bushes. And I
Let's do
honestly
it.
think that would be make me feel so much more fulfilled. But
Yeah.
I think we just need to continue to do this very human soul level work. And I know it gets exhausting sometimes. Now, like whatever business you own, you have to create content. And
Yeah.
that must be hard because not all business owners are content creators, right?
A hundred
Ugh,
percent.
and that's,
Hundred
yeah,
percent.
but we just have to, I guess, focus, redirect our attention on like why we're doing it and just really focus on that soul to soul, human to human interaction, more
Yeah.
in-person meetings, your retreats, right? Like I
Yeah.
want to work on a book next and I want to get people reading
Yeah.
an actual book again,
A
right?
hundred
Like
percent.
hearing real stories that did not come from the algorithm. I just want, I think there is like this desire to just go back to life when it was more simple
Yeah.
and natural and fluid and just connecting.
100%. That's where the chaos this year has brought me. I felt the angels more than ever before, just be here guiding me, leading me. And that's what I keep hearing is it's really your day, what you do every day, your routine, what you do within your hour, within your 5 minutes that you have. That is really who we are, and how we're spending our time is just of the soul or not, and really wanting to just make everything, like you're saying, for people to come back home to their soul self. Angela, I love you forever. I have to run to the retreat, but I want you
Yeah,
to
of
tell
course.
everybody where they can find you and follow your soulful content.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. So you could find me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. My handle is Mommy Diary. I don't know how much longer I'll have that. I did run a blog. I do run a mother's lifestyle blog called Mommy Diary. But I'm in the career transition right now. So you can find me there for now, and hopefully I can talk to you again when I'm on my next chapter.
Sounds wonderful. Angela, thank you for taking time out of your Friday to be here.
Of course, it was so amazing. I had so much fun. I always love hearing from you and learning from
Oh,
you.
I love learning from you too,
Thank
friend.
you,
All my
Julie.
love. You too. Mwah,
Sending you
mwah.
my love too. Bye.
Bye. Beautiful souls, we have so many freebies to help serve you, your family, and friends. Want a weekly message from your angels emailed to you? Sign up on my website to receive a weekly message of love, hope, and healing from the angels. Do you have a prayer request? Go to the homepage of my website and submit your prayer request so that our team of prayer warriors can be praying for you daily. Want to learn more about the angels and energy healing? Subscribe to my YouTube channel called Julie Jancius to learn more about the angels, energy healing techniques, and so much more. One of the biggest things we hear from our listeners is that they have no one to talk to about their spiritual awakening. We created a private Facebook group called the Angels and Awakening Podcast Tribe so that you could connect with others like you and know that you're not alone. So be sure to join this group on Facebook to get the support you need. Want a free session? We plan to give away over 240 free sessions with students in the Angel School per year. To win a free session, subscribe and rate this podcast 5 stars. Then write a positive review and email us a screenshot. That way we know who to contact when you win. Want to share your uplifting angel story on the podcast? Because we love sharing them. Please write down your angel story and email it to us. Don't forget, be an angel and share this podcast with someone who needs it. See you back here next time for another episode of the Angels and Awakening podcast. Friends, before we go, I want you to take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again, deep breath, inhaling the pure white light and love of God, making you feel weightless and filled with joy. And I want you to exhale all of the heaviness that you've been carrying in your auric field, in your chakras, in your body. Friends, no matter where you are in your life, your angels need you to know that you are so loved. Never doubt that you have big purpose here and now. What is your soul here to do? My friends, your spirit team is always working with you. I want you to see and feel your heart chakra and your heart itself opening like French doors. I want you to see God and your spirit team sending you a multitude of blessings of abundance in health, wealth, happiness, love, and peace. See all of those unexpected blessings filling your heart right now. My friends, your soul is love, joy, peace, bliss, ease, and grace. And because that's who and what you truly are, These elements can never leave you. They can never be taken away from you. And my friends, all you really ever have to do is just be. Be you and radiate the beautiful light that you are. So go forth today and be an angel in the lives of others. Radiate your love and live in the high vibration of simply being.